just to like focus, right? Because a lot of people will not be able to focus on things when they have like different things happening around them. Most people, like you have a short attention span, right? So if you keep focusing on other things in your life, you end up being like, okay, what do I focus on? What am I doing? And it's just like you feel lost in the middle of the road. So my advice is really tell your environment about what you're currently going through and avoid like taking care of other people without having to take care of yourself. Because if you think about it, if you don't do this yourself, no one else is going to do it for you. Josh, me, and others in here, we can only support you. We can only give you that advice. We can learn those things for you. We can sit in the interview for you. We can do any of those. So we can only support you, but you still have to like put in the hours, do the work. And so you have to do it yourself. Your wife can do it. No one can do it, right? Literally. So if you don't put in the time for yourself, no one will. But I really hope that tip helps you. But I know where you're coming from. But with respect to the technical part, I think what Josh said is very relevant. Focus on like the hands-on training first. And talking about the portfolio, you really should be building your portfolio at the same time that you're doing the hands-on. So because when a lot of people hear about portfolio, they think like it's like some place where you like have all your stuff. No, it's not some place. It's like you documenting your journey, right? Whatever you're working on, you documenting that on your GitHub. And I think George helps you with that video as well alongside training. So if you have the video of how to build your portfolio, you really should be using that while you're working like a Azure Labs and things like that. Those are projects, right? Those are things that you should have on your portfolio. So doing those two at the same time is very helpful. Things like LinkedIn and other stuff, they will be helpful, but that's in the future when you start job hunting. So for now, since you're not like job hunting out there, LinkedIn is not very important. So focus on the hands-on and building your
Shoot, that's thank you for saying that, Glass. Like I said, everything she said is 100% accurate. Like I said, I've been married for 15 years, and I set my wife down, my family down, my wife. I said I'm finna, start going to, school, being this apprenticeship program, with Josh, whatever, to make our life better. So I won't have to if I don't have to work so hard to have more time. And I pretty much made a schedule, and I work 8 9 hours a day, and I listen to podcasts, whatever podcasts I can pertain to that job, pertain to stuff Josh saying. And then when I get off, I spend a hour or two with the family. I cut out an hour or two with the family. And once I'm done with that, hey, what I'm saying, put some lavender on the kids, give them a massage, whatever you got to do, you know. I'm just being honest, but they won't be running around like a March hare and pulling you, hanging all over you. And so if you married, make sure you take care of your significant other, and and then get to work. Like I said, the thing that gave me a lot of energy, like I said, I put a little herb. It's called yerba mate. You can take it, get it in capsule form. That right there helped me get through it, helped me stay focused and give me energy once I got off work. Because if you're not really, because you don't want to drink too much coffee, you might get the jitters and stuff. And like I said, yeah, your family definitely you gotta have that sit down talk with them. You might get some resistance, but just be nice and talk to them and let them know the benefits. Because if you don't, like Gladys said, you're gonna be stuck in the same position. You're gonna be in the same rat race. So it's better just to go ahead and muster through it. And like she was saying, man, projects like when you watching the videos, take screenshots. No, take notes. Like I said, no, like I said, look, I was a truck driver, civil engineer, software engineer. While I was still going to school, still being married, still had another job. How did I do all this? I didn't go to the traditional school learning theory. I went to apprenticeship programs like Josh got, where I want hands-on. I don't want to hear no theory. Just give me hands-on projects. And that's what I want, and put me in there and throw me in there and let's do it. And over time, you just learn the theory for some reason. It's weird. And like I said, what Josh and Gladys said, just you're gonna have to sit down and have that talk with the fam. And be nice, let them know, be patient with them. You might get some pushback, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people know what I'm talking about because everybody. It's almost like, man, where was everybody at when I wasn't trying to do school? Now everybody want my attention all of a sudden. It's like that. It's like that when you trying to
That's
move
big
up.
facts. Big facts. Hey,
It's
Trick,
weird.
I drive truck right now. I'm driving right now, man. I'm at work right now, bro.
Hey,
And that's real. You got to push through it, man. I'm dropping gas right now, bro.
I've been there.
And
I did it for 7 years. Did it
yeah,
for seven
man. So
years.
you definitely got to push through and keep going. You know, because this is a good opportunity, man. What Josh got going on, like this is a great opportunity, and I see a lot of people trying to, steal the sauce a little bit, but he came up with the game first. So, but right now, man, this is a good opportunity. He's got to push through it, man, before it gets saturated, and you know how the game go.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's true. Like,
Yeah.
like man, just like I said, I tell anybody, just have that talk with your family. Just literally have that talk. What Gladys saying, have that talk with them. Like, hey, y'all, this is gonna better us. I know we're not spending 5-10 hours together. And if, like I said, if the kids running around acting crazy, pulling on your hair, daddy, I'm home, got this. Hey, Kimberly, let me run some of this lap down on your feet. You get them with that lab and they got them a nice massage and it's nice essential oils and it just next thing you know they're gonna be sleep. They're gonna be sleep like a baby. You be like, all right, I can get some work done now. Yeah, that's all I got.
Thanks, Trev. And then questions piling up. Robert, I seen you at the top with your hand.
Yeah, I just have 2 quick questions. So first question, is there a maximum of people you're taking to the internship?
No, there's no maximum. I have like people dedicated to processing all of those. Like somebody's like dedicated to doing the employment verification, and then someone else is dedicated to like intaking like the sheets. So there's like a system. So there's no limit.
And then the second question, is there a maximum amount of time or that we can be in an internship?
There's not. When I was researching like how to do an internship in the Washington or the States or whatever, like in terms of law, there like wasn't really anything, but they recommended outlining a clear start and end date. So when you go to fill out the internship paper, actually, let me like share my screen. So if I can do this, cyber range intern. So this is like what the sheet looks like, the internship tracking stuff. And then on the agreement, I think I outlined something about it being 6 months long or something like this. I think, oh yeah, here, the internship agreement will be effective for 6 months. I just put this here because it was like a recommendation, but in reality, the internship it's just as long as your CyberRange membership is, because you have to use the CyberRange infrastructure for some of the internship tasks. So if you want it to be like 6 months, you'll just, be in the CyberRange for 6 months or longer, but there's no like limit or like minimum or maximum. It's just like up to you.
Okay, so after the 6 months, are you allowing extensions?
Yeah, as long as you're in the CyberRange, that's like as long as your internship is. So if you get like the year CyberRange thing for a discount, you can put a year if you want to. It's up to you. So you can make it as long as you want. If you make it like 2 years, it's kind of weird to be like 2-year-long internship, but it's up to you.
Yeah, I'm month to month, so I should be good.
Okay.
All right, gotcha.
Sure, yeah, I want to say something to that, Josh. Y'all, listen, I'm keeping my membership. Josh, like I said, I feel like, I got to give back or give it back. And I'm keeping my membership. Even though I got a job, I'm still keeping it because I still can keep, Josh, company on my resume, and I can still apply for other jobs, especially if I want to do more corp to corp jobs or stack jobs. Now I won't have to really do the reference to my other job that I'm working now. So they won't be calling like, why are you looking for another job? Like I said, some companies don't mind, but some companies do mind. So I just pretty much use Josh as my main reference point, to do this. So I'm, like I said, I'm just keeping my eyes. Then Josh keep coming out with courses. He got another course coming out in about 2 months. I can't wait to see that. So that course there just pay for itself. Like that's just me. I'm just keeping my eyes, pay respect to Josh. Like I said, it was a good investment, and I'm just gonna keep investing in him and keep rooting for him. That's just how I feel about it.
How are you gonna put that in your resume? Are you gonna put, are you currently working or?
So that's a good question. So me, Josh, and Josh cool with this. I didn't put internship. I put Login Pacific like it was a real job, especially those weeks when we was doing the real threat hunt from people. We had people from Russia hacking us, China. It was like a real threat hunt zone, and it was like full everybody hands on deck. And what's crazy, none of the companies ask. It's just an internship. It's not an internship. They just want to know, hey, you got a job, all right. They don't even really ask what you do at the other job. They just want to know, hey, can you solve my problem and take on this load and get this out of my hair? That's all. None of the jobs ask me, is this an internship? None of them. All literally none of them. And I got it. I got it. Like I said, I don't got internship on mine. And Josh said he was cool with them. Like, cool, bet. Hey, Josh, I'm signing for you for life, bro. Life, good. I'm good.
Yeah, I just want to talk about my ethics when it comes to things like this, because people are probably wondering about that.
Yeah.
I'm not really like, getting a job is literally like just a game, and the employer they don't have rules, that they like a code of ethics they follow when they're like hiring and firing people. They don't care. They just want to like fill a business need and like either get more money or prevent themselves from losing more money. So if somebody like puts on their their resume, like, Login Pacific, like security engineer, security analyst, and they don't put internship, I'm not going to like go to the employer and be like, oh, they're an intern, make sure that, I won't do this. I'll just like, when basically what happens is the employer will reach out to me and they'll ask me these, like, it's not even the employer most of the time, it's like a third party company, and they'll ask me like a list of questions like, how long did they work, like what was their title, what did they do? And then I basically just like open up that internship tracking thing, and I just answer their questions in accordance with what the student put. Because like the reality of it is, like, somebody is like Trevor or like any other like CyberRange member, they're not going to like go out of their way and then give some random person, which is me, money on the internet and then go through their course and like do all of this stuff on their own, and only to do like a shitty job at work. It's just like really unlikely that that's going to happen. So the fact that like, you guys are doing all this stuff, I assume that you're going to do a good job at work. So you went through like great efforts, like more than average. So that's kind of how I see it. As long as like, you are, confident, you're not like completely lying about your resume or something. As long as you can like do relatively well in the interview and you try your best at work, I think that's fine, if that makes sense. So, and did we answer all your questions, Robert, before I go to the next person? I'm sorry, we like did a tangent.
Yeah, that pretty much answers everything. Just
cool. Yeah, and you can like ask more questions, like raise your hand and stuff again. But Andrea Allen, I seen your hand is up.
Hi, Josh.
Hi. How are you?
Hi, Trey.
What's up, sis?
My comment, I just wanted to say, encourage Robert. Just think of your short and long-term goals. Your short-term goal really is just to go through the process of the course. But your long-term goal, you'll be able to spend more time with your family. Once you land that role, everything else will be worth the sacrifice. So just put in, even if you're just listening to the course while you're driving or while you're playing with your kids, you can always go back to it. Like he already encouraged us to at least go through the videos 3 to 4 times. I go through them like 6. I'm just being honest with you. And then when I go back, I could take notes, or sometimes I'll print out something if I didn't understand. Like I had a challenge this week and I stayed up till like 12, and I have a full-time job too. And I put my dog up. Hey, this is going to change our life, dude. Go to bed. Dogs act like kids too. So sometimes you just have to make that sacrificial time. And if you're on a Saturday or a Sunday is chill day, take an hour. I mean, even if you can't get through the project right away, all the way, at least you're doing something, even little baby steps. I saw that comment. Somebody said dogs, bills too. Yes, they are. So I know for a fact, once I've been following Josh for about 2.5 years. I know for a fact, once I am done, my life will change. And I will not have to worry about time to do this and time to do that. So what are you willing to sacrifice? What is your short-term goal? What is your long-term goal? And write them down. Look at them. Remind yourself every day. Even when you look at your wife and your kids, that's a reminder. You won't lose. I guarantee it.
Thanks.
That's so nice. Thanks, Andrea. And I 100% agree with that. And I like to think about things in like a really weird way. Like the more autonomy you have, for example, like if you can work remote, it kind of allows you to live more of your life, because instead of like going, being forced into like where you are and like when you go there, as opposed to if you're working like mid-career cybersecurity, a lot of the time you can be like really remote, and it lets you like, I don't know, it's kind of weird to say or weird to think about, but when you're like really remote and you can go and live anywhere, it's kind of like you're allowed to like it's kind of like your lifespan increases, if that makes sense. So for example, like Trev is like really remote and I'm really remote. Maybe we can go to like, 4 different countries in the year or something like this, whereas the normal person, it will take them maybe like 8 years to go to 4 different countries, like something like this. So you can like cram a lot of life experience into like a really short time, and then on top of that, when you're making more money, it allows you to do more stuff. So it kind of like increases your life. It's a weird way to think about it, but like it allows you to like do more stuff, like do more things than the average person would have been able to do in like the same amount of time. So it's kind of like kind of increasing your lifespan in a way, because you can like cram pack a bunch more experience like with yourself and your family in like a shorter amount of time. That's just something weird that I've noticed since I've been like really remote. And it's like, I think it's good to think about it like that, because it makes it easier to kind of make short-term sacrifices. That's just the weird way and how I think about it. But
That's true. Like I said, I work remote. I've been to Brazil while working, Peru while working. Yeah. I work remote, and I tell anybody, get a remote job, cause like what exactly what Josh said, you have more time with your family then, because you're working remote. You only may have you about like 3-4 meetings a week, but then you just kind of doing your work, and the bosses really don't care. As long as you're getting your job done, your tickets done, they don't really care. As long as you get your work done, so you really gonna have time to play with the cat, dog, wife, husband, and just really just let me go do a little work. All right, let me go relax and get some coffee. Let me go jog or play with the dog or watch a movie. Let me veg out on TikTok. All right, let me do a little bit more work. And all right, babe, you want to go to Brazil or Peru, or you want to go to Africa or Cameroon? All right, let's go. Yeah, all right. How good is their Wi-Fi? Okay, their Wi-Fi good. Okay, cool. Look, let's go. We gone. And it's like Josh said, it's a way better lifestyle. It just is.
yeah.
You have like a certain like work schedule. Is your schedule pretty flexible?
Yeah. So my work schedule is 8 to 5 Eastern Standard, and out of everybody in the whole company, I'm pretty much at work the most. People might come in at 8:30, 9:30, leave about 4 o'clock, 4:30, stay on 2 hours. Do y'all thing. Hey, I'm doing my job, and the boss be like, hey, even if you need to take off or leave early or work 10 hours this day and work 4 hours this day, I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. This is nice. So I might have, and they don't care. It's like long as you get your job done and you solving the problem for them, and they don't have to babysit you, man, that they is not letting you go. They is not gonna let you go. And you know how to get along with people. You got EQ and IQ. You know how to like talk and get along with people, man. You know what I'm saying? You can kind of like go against some of the crazy people at work without, crashing out, because, it's people going to be like that at work. And if you can do that, yeah, they're not going to let you go, bro. They're going to be like, yep, give them more money, do another contract. We don't care.
Yeah, I want to, sorry, go ahead, Robert.
Sorry about that. Does your company help pay for certifications and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Let's talk on that. I got no certs, 0 certs, and 0 degree. I'm probably not gonna get any certs unless my company tell me. Now I am working on a lot of the Splunk training that they got, because it's like advanced like Splunk stuff. But as far as certs, it's not on the top of my bucket list. Maybe one day I'll probably do it. But like I said, would the certs help me? Did any other stuff? No, like I said, I just know how to do the job, and I know how to articulate. You got to know how to articulate to the company, the person you're interviewing with, that you can hit the job and they're not going to have to hold your hand. And like you literally can hit the ground running on the first day. They give you all your passwords, all your emails, and then you can just like, what the documentation is, what I need to do. All right, let's go do it. And once they be like, wow, and you kind of, and what I do too, once a week, I send my boss, hey, this is what I did. So I got a digital footprint. Hey, this is what I did a week. This is what I'm doing. Just to kind of, and bosses like stuff like, oh, okay, this guy he ain't just over there just milking my clock and burning my time up. Then this let me know where I'm at compared to everybody else. So yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. And I seen Frank, you had your hand up. I just rewatched our interview yesterday, Frank, by the way. Oh, you might be muted now. I don't know if you're trying to talk.
Frank? I think you might be muted, Frank.
And I'll talk.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, sorry about that. Hi, guys. I just wanted to piggyback on something that I heard about all the eye candy that you can do involved in the cyber range. And Josh has already reiterated that you should, try to do the activities in order. I want to triple down on that. I wouldn't worry about the internship. I wouldn't worry about LinkedIn. I wouldn't worry about the portfolio. I would just focus on, actually doing the labs and lessons as many times as you can. And if you're having issues with time and family and work and what have you, there's a gazillion ways that you can study. It doesn't always have to be necessarily in front of the computer. You can listen to the courses, listen to the lab. That was one of the things that I did. I got tired a lot when I was going through the cyber range, and I knew that I had to absolutely get through it. So when those times when I couldn't see anymore or I couldn't concentrate, I would just listen to it. I would go to sleep to it. I would wake up to it. So there's a gazillion ways that you can make it. It's not a race. Getting the content is more important than, filling out that last section. And I also want to, co-sign the staying in the cyber range as long as possible. Unfortunately, my job is not going to allow me to be able to stick in, but my intent was to stay in the cyber range even though that I've completed it. So I also joined the cyber range in December, end of December, and I was able to get a role with a security clearance.
Congrats on that, by the way. And me and Frank
Great
interview, he talks about all that. So definitely check that out when it comes out. I think it's like really crazy interview. And Frank, I don't want to like spoil it too much, but you're like, yeah, I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, thanks. Thank you. And Christopher, oh hey, we were DMing the other day. I see your hand up.
Hey Josh, hey Trey, how you guys doing?
What's up?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just want to share my 2 cents because just kind of to build off of what Frank just said. I've been in the cyber range for about a month now, maybe a little longer, and I think that one of the greatest parts about being in the cyber range is that once you go through all the course material, once you kind of get a handle of all the skills and all the theory and the knowledge, and you get your hands dirty with some of the labs, I think that one of the coolest things about the cyber range is having access to the entire Azure environment as basically your own playground to do whatever you want and to test whatever you want and experiment with whatever you want. Because I'm a big believer in project-based learning, right? Because I hate just memorizing shit, all day because you never retain any of it, right? But when you like focus on like a project that you want to do and put together and test your skills on, I find that greatly accelerates your ability to actually do the thing, but also understand like the mechanics behind, doing an incident response or creating a detection rule in Sentinel or in the EDR that we use in Azure or whatever you want. And so that's been one of the greatest parts that I find in participating in the cyber range, and the possibilities are endless. I mean, about a week ago, I put together my own little lab where I use atomic red scripts to kind of simulate attacks on my virtual machine. And that's not necessarily taught in the course, but you learn enough in the course to kind of like build off of that on your own. And of course, if you use things like ChatGPT and stuff like that, that'll greatly kind of, enhance your ability to kind of make your own projects. One of the things that I recently shared on the school community is a cool little ChatGPT prompt that I was kind of messing with, especially if you're like, let's say you're going for a particular job role, right? You're looking at and reading through job descriptions, and you find one that like you really want to get or that appeals to you, but you don't necessarily have like the skill sets or the requirements or like the knowledge to actually do that job. One thing you can do that I'm gonna start doing is you can just copy and paste that entire job description, put it into ChatGPT and ask it, hey, like make me a project, like one project that encompasses all of these skills, and then give me that project and the steps I need to do in order to actually do it and then develop those skills. And you can do that in the cyber range, because once you kind of have the project idea, then you go into the range and then you figure out how to like actually simulate it and replicate it. And then now you have a really cool project that you can put on your GitHub or on your portfolio that just adds to your overall skill set and your overall appeal as someone who's, who could be employed. So I think that's one of the coolest things about this. And if you're kind of on the fence of whether to sign up or not, I just for that, I mean, I highly recommend it, because one of the things that I was really worried about is that whole imposter syndrome thing, right? Where like you just feel like you don't know enough or you don't have the skills to do the job. But if you are doing projects all day and you're applying the skill sets, I mean, that you learn it, and you learn it very quickly. Like, I come from a healthcare background, no IT background at all. I've only done one other certification to kind of give me like an idea of cybersecurity, but I've only been studying this for like maybe 2 months prior to signing up to the cyber range. And I can tell you that going through just a month through the cyber range, I feel way more competent than I did, a month and a half ago, just simply because I have the ability to just get in there and practice, everything that I've learned, and mess with things, tweak things, make mistakes, and kind of get my reps in, so that when I go to an interview, then I'll know what I'm talking about, right? Especially if they ask me any kind of technical question. So just want to throw that out there, because I think that's a super valuable part of the cyber range. Of course, the internships is awesome, and the course content is awesome. The community is great too, especially for networking. It's awesome. I've met a ton of great people like Trey, for example, and of course Josh. So it's a really, really powerful community if you leverage it correctly, and if you really put in the work, and because it's one of the things that you'll only get out what you put in. But if you do go all into it, and you do leverage it, and you do maximize all the things that you can do in the range, it's an invaluable resource. So just wanted to share that.
Thanks so much for sharing that. And then what you and I forget who else was talking, it kind of reminded me of something. I read this like book called, I'll put a link in the chat. It's called like Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, that like Navy SEAL. Oh, yeah. And I kind of like, I notice like people have this like mindset when they have to be like set up for success at work or something like this. And it's kind of true to some extent, but the more money you make, you'll kind of like cross this threshold where it's in between like, 40K per year and 100K per year, where you should kind of stop using those phrase, or like, use it less. Because instead of like the employer setting you up for success, you kind of have to set yourself up for success, and like do everything you can, and just assume your employer is like going to be incompetent when it comes to like learning the environment or doing all that stuff. So basically what Christopher was talking about is there's like the cyber range is basically like an open environment. It's like an actual work environment where you're literally not restricted, well, in what you can do, in the sense of you can create your own virtual machines and like do all this stuff. So when he went through the cyber range, you can kind of see like all the different stuff that you can do. And at the end, you're like, oh, I can do like all these other projects to help me learn X, Y, and Z. And then when you get to work, instead of like kind of waiting for the employer to tell you what to do or something, or teach you about it, you have to be like really proactive about it and kind of learn what your deliverables are, and then maybe learn what your manager's deliverables are to their manager. And then you have context to like, learn what you need to learn and do what you need to do. So yeah, that everything you said is like really on point. And you can do like infinitely more in the cyber range than I even outlined in the course. You just have to like, think about it and like be proactive like he was. I think that's like really good. And I'm sorry, people have their hands up. Ricket, I'm so sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. Can you tell me how to like pronounce your name?
That's perfect. My friend Ricket is good.
Ricket, okay, thank goodness.
Hi everybody. I was wondering about AI, if you incorporated some AI modules in the new version of the cyber range, or the new modules that you're putting in.
I didn't yet. I mean, we use like GPT and stuff, but I'm not like teaching about like prompt injection or any of that stuff. I need to like brush up on that myself. I would like to include such modules, but it's not there yet. But hopefully in the future, I just need to figure out like what to put, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, at work, how we kind of use AI, and this is all kind of new to me, to do like AI agents, and we kind of use some of the source stuff, and called Phantom. Pretty much it's like you pretty much creating and training the AI to kind of like threat hunt a little bit, and kind of like do some Tom Cruise Minority Report, and kind of like do that. You kind of have it do this and do that. It's kind of like, it's really just main stuff, but it pretty much like you pretty much create another you, and it kind of do stuff. So I'm freshly new to that, and they kind of told me, the guys like, yeah, we want to start integrating this. I'm like, you can handle, you can figure it out. Bye. And he go like, all right, let me figure it out. All right, here go the free training. Here you go. And it's like, all right, Javon, it's you now. Okay, cool, whatever. Let's go. Let's do it. And yeah, so I'm learning that. And I think Microsoft uses Copilot and Splunk. Splunk uses a kind of different one. It's all the same concept. So they pretty much just creating AI to kind of help them do the threat hunt and the incident response and stuff like that. It's pretty much you pretty much create an agent and he kind of just go in there and just kind of, all right, this maybe look like it's some bad behavior. These people looking like they finna get ready and do something, so let's block them. So you can kind of, it's kind of like advanced threat detection. That's pretty much what it is.
Another question, Mr. Maracor, is for somebody that is coming from, you know, a GRC background, but, you know, wants to be super remote, you know, and then in GRC it's all compliance and paperwork and bullshit. What kind of like courses would you say you have, like examples that will get me there the fastest? I have like experience in risk management and all this other stuff, but I just kind of want to get away from people, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The cyber range is like the main stuff that we're teaching in there is like vulnerability management. Like, I don't want to say holistically, but kind of holistically, like with software vulnerability management with Tenable. And that's like really good job for working remote and even working more than one job at the same time, because most of that work is kind of asynchronous. Like you don't need to be like in front of your computer all the time, because a lot of the time you're waiting for other people to do stuff. And then the other stuff we teach is like security operations and threat hunting. So I might just, I don't know, I would just like get really good at those things, because you have like GRC background, and then you can add like vulnerability management and security operations, and then just see what jobs are out there. Because if you have like enough experience doing certain stuff, people, a lot of the time the employer will hire you to do something, even though it's like not directly related. Just the fact that you've done like X, Y, and Z, they kind of infer that you can do, you know, DEF. So like, gotcha. I'll just get good at those things and then just apply to jobs maybe based on keywords or something. And like the better you are, like, you know, the more flexibility that you'll have, or like the more value you provide to the employer, the more flexibility they'll like let you to have. I found. Did I answer your question? I might have tangented a bit there.
No, yeah, that's pretty good. Another thing is Python. Do you have like scripting or coding in there?
So that's a good question. In the vulnerability management course, we do some PowerShell in terms of like vulnerability remediation and Stig remediation. But I'm building a new module right now. I'll share my screen where I tried to share it. Where I'm gonna add some Python. So basically, let me try to do this. If you go to Classroom, this course will have how I built the cyber range. So it will include like all of those backend automation that I use to manage the cyber range. That is like, you know, shutting down all the virtual machines at midnight with Azure Function using Python, and deleting virtual machines when people like create too many, and then like recording tags. There's just like a lot of automation that happens. And we use like the Azure Resource Manager API and a bunch of stuff with Python. So I'll include all of that in this course, but it's not released yet, but it will be eventually in the future. But yeah, if you have specific questions about the course or like what's in there, none of that is secret. So you can just ask me like anything you want.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So my job now, we'll use Python sometimes, but it's more for maybe like remediation, or maybe setting up some of the source stuff or some of the automated threat detection. But like, did I have any coding in the interviews? No. And it seemed like what I'm noticing, most companies kind of want you to know. It's weird. It's like they kind of want you to know pretty much what's in the range, meaning like vulnerability management, and know some of the threat hunting stuff and some GRC stuff. Like I said, I do GRC stuff every day, and you know, nobody don't want to do it. Cool with me. I collect that money. You gonna leave that money on the table? Thanks. That's for me. That's for me. And the easing, the boring, the easing, the boring of the job is to me. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, what I've learned, until you kind of like, this just for me, what I've learned, until I get to the point where I'm helping other people and not just working a 9 to 5 in a red race, it all get boring. Like what Josh doing now, he living his dream, he helping people. And like now, I'm just stacking my money, get my skills, and I want to help people. Because just working a 9 to 5 with us, I'm the best threat hunter analyst. I'm the best vulnerability manager. Them people don't care about that. They don't care about none of that. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be like, man, I've been working my butt off. And you know, so let me just do what Josh doing. So like I said, like I think last week I did 20 audits on 20 different companies, GRC audits. And I put their data inside the Splunk and just their data. And I ran a scan on it. And I did some basic 300 on it. I'm really the only guy in the whole company can do it. And this is a $1 billion company. So they like, Trevino, what's this? What's that? Like I said, so I would tell anybody, man, hey, get that money and remote. Remote, baby. I'm all about the remote. I might go over and hang out with Josh over there in Thailand. We might go to Japan. We might go back to Philippines. We might go over here.
That's a dream, man. That's a dream.
Yeah.
Argentina for me, man. That's
Hey,
amazing.
I was just in Argentina, bro. Hey, I'm down here in South America now. So what's up? Like I said, I had to pull up over there on you one day.
Most def, brother.
Pam, I see your hand up. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can. I can.
Okay, thank you. I do have a few questions, but I do want to make a statement. I did join the, I believe, the first week of this month. So just to kind of add to a lot of things that what everybody was, it is a great course. And I'm glad that I've joined hands-on. I did a project implementing the full VM program. That one I completed. Going through this, I realized it gave me only a 0, even though I was only a minimum at my current job, but I was able to do it more so with, doing the lab here. So, but this was my first time actually doing vulnerability management. So because I was doing some additional learning on the side with PowerShell, I believe I had a copy when I text you about, I decided I was going to try my hand on trying to solve the issue with that CVE, the 2013-3900. Yeah, because I started not to, but I was like, you know what, let me challenge myself and try to resolve it. So I was happy that I was able to resolve that vulnerability. So I did start at the GitHub. Like I followed some of the steps that you mentioned as far as, doing the vulnerability management, adding that project to the GitHub. So I did that section so far. So I do appreciate all the knowledge and the training and the learning modules that you have, the lab that you have here, because it is worth the price. I do want to make sure I get the opportunity to do the internship too, as well. So I can get the hands-on training, because I want to go through all the labs and do the internship before I try to put my resume out there as far as trying to get a cybersecurity job. I'd rather do that first, because for me, I think I need to know what avenue that I definitely want to go in the security, because as I look at the spreadsheet, there's so many different titles, different range, but all of them still have a lot of responsibility and skills that they require in a lot of the positions. But I want to make sure that when I do apply for the job, that I have the skills and know what I'm doing when I do look at the job. So that's why I want to go through all the labs fully before I going through the internship. So I do appreciate you putting together the course. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. You were cut out a bit at the end, but I think I could hear you. But yeah, I think that's really good, because when you do something, like for me, when I do something once, it's kind of like those really basic understanding. But every time you do something again, you kind of get more and more nuance into like what you're doing. And if you do those like with enough topics, you really see like how everything connects, and then it becomes like so easy to talk about like when you get to the interview. So I think that's like really good.
I agree. Thank you.
And then I want to do one more shout out to you for trying to remediate vulnerabilities that are like not necessarily done in the lab. I think that's a really good practice to just, try to figure out how to do it on your own and then to actually remediate it. I think that's like really, really good practice, because anyway, that's what you have to do at work. So that's like excellent. So great work on that as well.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's true. It's true. Like, yeah, because the people like, I don't know how to fix this. All right, let me go see how to fix this manually. Now ChatGPT it, and I have my VM already pulled up. and then I go make sure it works. Then ask ChatGPT, hey, if I do this, what is possible that could break? If I was to do this, and it'll tell me this can happen or everything good. Then I say, all right, write me if it's like a Windows, because most companies using Windows or Linux. And I say, all right, write me a PowerShell, how to do this. And I even do a little video, do a screen recorder, then I send it to the person and to remediate it. Because I guess for some reason companies don't let you do the audit, do the scan, do the threat, and then fix it. They want somebody else to fix it. So, and when you start communicating and moving like that in a company, you like, yeah, people love you. They'll vouch for you. They'll go to war for you. And yeah, it's interesting to see.
Thanks, Trev. And Robert, or Rob, I'm so sorry I called you Robert. I don't know why, if you don't go by that, but I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, my name is Robert, but I already saw someone with Robert. I was like, I've been in a lot of rooms where there's too many Roberts and they can't tell. I actually almost answered a few times when you called out the other gentleman here in the room the same name. Nice. So yeah, so I go with Rob. Let's make it a little easier. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for the encouragement and the ideas. My brain has been like churning after hearing all of that, and I'm like, okay, kind of find ways to get the time in. But my other question is, so the cybersecurity is such a large, vast, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. Now I've been working in security for over 20 years, doing different stuff. Started just watching a door, and I'm at a point now where I work for DHS. I can't really say what I do, but I have security clearance and a lot of other stuff. And so the security part, when you was doing those videos where you have to kind of sit in a cab and I was like, oh my God, I almost do that now. I was like, I know what those conversations are. So I felt like, man, I think vulnerability is going to be my go-to thing to do, because I feel like a lot of that stuff I already do now. So it's kind of like having the soft skills, so to speak. And I was like, man, I already know how to do this. Yeah, talking to people and getting people to think. So my question to you is could I really just laser focus on the vulnerability, especially working with Tenable? Because I mean, once I got into and I did the modules, all that stuff was like, oh yeah, I know about this, I know about that. I do have, somewhat of an IT sort of background. I've done, A+, Net+, MCSA, MCSC. I mean, so like, I'm not new to any of this. I never went and got a job with it, but I know about it. So could you really make a career and just stick to kind of at least just to get in, in the door and stick just to vulnerability? Because I watched that threat hunting. I ain't gonna lie, it was a bit intimidating, especially when you're sitting there writing the KQLs, I think it was, and I was like, oh man, I feel like this is programming all over again, and I did not do very well breaking into there, and so yeah, that's kind of like my thought process. And is that possible?
Yeah, you can absolutely make a career out of vulnerability management. I was like doing that on accident. I got forced into that by mistake. And I will say, because you're basically doing vulnerability management already, but you're doing it in the kinetic world instead of the cyber world, or the physical world. And arguably, what you're doing is harder because people will die, right, if you fail to assess and remediate the vulnerabilities, right, or potentially. So there's direct correlation between the two. It's kind of like you're super battle hardened already, in the literal sense. So if you just learn those platform and vulnerability management methodology and stuff, you're a really, really, really good candidate, I would say, for probably any portion of vulnerability management. But probably for you, you'd be well, you can do anything you want, but you would probably be a really good vulnerability management program manager who kind of oversees all the program, or a big chunk of it. So yeah, I think that's really good, actually.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. Vulnerability management and GRC analyst. Threat hunt is just a cherry on top. It took me pretty much 3 to 4 months to learn, really understand threat hunting. But vulnerability management, man, you can learn that, and companies need that. And you can that's a job that you can stack pretty easy. That's literally a job that because you're gonna be running scans say for instance how we do the scans at our job. So everything won't get taken offline. We'll take the data out of Splunk. It'll be on the SVV file. or we'll have it on a YAML file, and we'll upload it into another Splunk, and then we'll run the scan on the whole data, so we don't have to the system don't have to be down or nothing. And then once you run that scan, it come back. You might have your certain dashboard set up. You want to say, all right, this is a PCIS, this is that, because man, we do PCIS, HIPAA, FERPA, and this. Cause we got so many companies, it's so many companies that the company I work for deal with, where I'm learning all of it. Do I know about hard? No, I didn't know all this stuff about hard, but dealing with it and actually doing it every day, I'm learning it. And yeah, you can easily stack a vulnerability management job, and they pay just as much as a threat hunt. They pay just as much as a GRC analyst, but you can stack that job pretty easy, especially if you're working remote. But yeah.
What are the salary ranges in threat hunting?
Man, it's pretty much.
Well, I mean, not threat hunting. I mean, in the vulnerability management portion.
So it's what I've noticed in the market is anywhere between 70,000 to 200,000. Like for a starter, they probably gonna start you about $45-$50 an hour, maybe $40 an hour. But you're gonna be like, man, this is an easy gravy job. I might need to give me one more of these, because my job, I'm already feeling like, okay, I'm finna go give me another job, and yeah, I'm finna stack this one. I'm finna give me another job and just stack it, because it's so easy.
I agree with this. I had the vulnerability management program manager job, and at the same time I was working it was like another program manager, technical writer type job, and the vulnerability management job was 130K, and then I was able to kind of easily work another 120K job at the same time. So I was making 250K of cash. And the vulnerability management job probably take maybe 4 hours a day, or even less than this. If you know what you're doing, you can really compact it. But
yeah, you set it up, get your schedule set up, and find out what the company, what they really, really want, and what the boss really want to hear, because they had their little quotas they got to meet. I want this, I want that. All right, but this right here is a little better. Nope, I want this. Cool, I'm gonna give you what you want, Mr. Boss Man.
Yeah, I will say the vulnerability management course in the cyber range is really realistic in terms of the tools and the soft skill and implementing the program. It's pretty real if anyone's worked in vulnerability management. So I think you're in good shape if you just laser focus on those.
Josh, it's a world for, bro. Literally, I didn't know nothing about that world, and literally every situation that didn't happen at work, it actually goes on at work. The whole thing, we use Tenable and we use Qualys. This such a big company, so everybody be fighting over what tool is best. No, this tool is best. No, that tool. All the tools the same. But I won't say nothing. Okay, what you want? You want Tenable ran on yours? All right, I'm gonna run Tenable on yours. You want Qualys on yours? Okay, I'm running on yours. Whatever, I don't care. They all the same.
Yeah. Do we answer your question, Rob, enough?
Oh yeah. Just again, that's just because I said, when I started doing that first, the real stuff, I would say, when you dig in, I was like, oh my God, this stuff is making all types of sense to me. I was like, and as you was talking, I was like, even when the videos, when you was doing, like I said, when you was acting out those videos, I was like, holy crap, this is exactly, it sounds like some of the talks that I have right now. And I was like, trying to get people to, I find that might be the hardest part of the job, is to get people on board, because one of the things with security, and again, just because of the background I have, and is understanding, yes, security is an inconvenience for everyone, because everyone's got their job they got to do, and no one's really thinking about security. And then the roles that fall, the complacency, not only for the workers, but even as security professionals, that we're doing the complacency that can't happen, because if it happens, things may not end up well. But just getting people on board, I see it in my job. It just kind of people just don't get it. There's a reason why we do certain things. There's a reason why there's laws in place and stuff like that, and it's just to keep everyone safe. And I think that's the hardest. I at least, and maybe I'm wrong, but just based on what I see, that's the hardest part, to sell people on. Hey, we need to fix this. I know there's might be inconvenience. I know we have to maybe work on a weekend. Maybe I've had some prior IT roles, and on the weekends, late at night, overnight, and things don't work out well. But, at the end of the day, it's about securing the system and then get everyone on board together. I feel like that's probably the hard part, is to get people on. And like I said, if I see the videos, I'm like, oh man, yes, that is very, very, very true. So I kind of was living sort of like through those videos, and I was like, yep, this is going to be the hard part.
Yeah, it literally is, because just running the scan is like quite easy, but getting rapport and then getting people to actually do their job is the hard part. So like you noticed. So I will like try to front load my asks for them as much as possible. Like if I need them to do something, I'll like try to do as much as I can before handing it off to them. Or even like I've seen people bribing other people like at Microsoft with like buying them drinks and stuff. There's like always like something you can kind of do. But yeah, that is the hard part. And someone said something in chat.
I remember.
But I wanted.
No, you got something. What you
Oh, like Daniel in chat said, "Are you guys serious? 4 hours a day, 250K." I just want to say, like, the vulnerability management job took 4 hours a day, and that job was 130K. And then the other job at Microsoft took probably about 6 hours a day, and that one was 120K. So between the two, I was working 10 hours a day, and I tried hard at work. Right, I probably could have worked less than that, but I would say like 10 hours a day. So that was about 50 hours a week for 250K. And that's like really good, right? Because people work like 12 hours a day, and they earn less than that. So I'm not trying to like complain or anything, but yeah, it was And then go ahead, Trev. I was gonna.
No, man. Once you start seeing them $3,000 checks come in your bank for 1 week, you be like, okay, man. Then in a month, you're like, oh man, I done saved up a lot of money for this easy stuff. Let me do 2 jobs. And now, like I know last week I was talking about some of the meetings I had to go get 90 assets from this one guy. I had to get all the information I need so I can do the scans and the audits on it. Everybody know the guy's a butthole in the whole company. I'm like, okay, what the heck going on? They're like, Trevino, can you go talk to the guy? He's a butthole. I'm like, hold on, this guy's under you and you're the boss, but he the butt. I'm like, just tell this guy to do his job. Okay, Trevino, can you just handle this for me, please? I ain't saying. I just was like, okay, cool, I go handle it. So we had a meeting. He was over 90 assets that I needed. So I'm in there talking. He didn't want to bite on nothing. I'm in there talking nice. No, I ain't going Memphis or Trap Star, nothing. I'm just talking nice, cool. Hey, well, what you think about this? Nope, I don't want to do that either. Well, can you do this? Nope. I'm saying, okay, this guy not even listening. All right, what can you do then? Well, I can't do nothing. I only can get to that a month from now. I said, well, can you do it in a week? Nope, can't do that. Can't do it in a month. I can't do it. I just can't do this. I'm like, I said, hey man, I said, my manager, your manager, we all got a job to do. And this stuff is costing the company money. I need these assets. I said, I need to talk to your manager, my manager, get together so we can set out so you can do 5 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day. Nope, not doing that either. I said, I said, well, what can you do? So I went for an hour going looping back around. And he finally was like, well, maybe I can figure something. I said, well, can I just send you a message in Microsoft Teams or whatever, just kind of see maybe we can do that, but I can't promise anything. And it was another person to meet with me because you want to have a witness, especially when you're dealing with crazy people. You want to have a witness, you want to document everything. And we got back in the meeting, the manager was like, how'd the meeting go? Was he being a butt? I was like, well, that's like, yep, pretty much. He said, don't worry about how we'll do it like this. So they'll find a way to do it. Like, I'm going to talk to this manager. I'm going to make his butt do this or he can lead. I was like, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Then he just started laughing. But he got me what I needed. He got me what I needed because somebody kind of stood up to him in a respectful way and kind of challenged him like, hey, dude, I need this. This is costing the company millions of dollars. If this was you, what would you do? So it's like you kind of got to like talk to him and like say, have those soft skills. But like I said, yeah, it's interesting. It's fun. It's easy money. I tell anybody, it's easy money.
I would say I've had experience working 2 jobs at the same time, but it's best if you make sure they're fully remote, both of them, not a hybrid and a remote one, because then you start to having to go to Starbucks in the middle of your lunch break and things like that. Don't do that, and don't get them in the same time zone. Get like one in the East Coast, one on the West Coast. All right, I'm fully remote. I can't stress
Yes, it's fully remote. It's the only way.
And then I seen Rashid. You had your hand up, but it went down. Are you still in here? Rashid Jimo. Gotcha. Okay, Josh, Emmanuel. I'm trying to like read the chat. It's like hard. Josh, you answered my question about dealing with the human aspect of vulnerability management. Oh yeah. Rashid said something in the chat. I'm so sorry. I missed it, and your hand like went down. Richard, hey Josh, just confirming projects. Okay. Richard said, hey Josh, just confirming projects count as achievements for the internship. So yeah, so basically I didn't like talk about this anywhere in the course yet. I'm trying to add a module where I talk about that. But if you want to do like, you know, something for internship credit that's not something that I outlined already, if you make like a repeatable project that other people can do and you make a post about it, I'll turn it into a community lab, and then you can put that thing on your internship tracking thing. So for example, like Christopher Herrera, he was like talking earlier, he made a post about, you know, he used Atomic, I think this is Atomic Red Team for a lab, and he like really outlined it well, and he made some nice lab instructions here. So I'll just like, you know, show you what this looks like. Oh my God. Whenever I want to show somebody something, the computer goes hella slow. Okay. So he made these like really detailed instructions on how to do it, and like everything that's like in the lab and all of this. So if you make something like really quality like this and like a nice post, you can use this as internship credit, because I can make a lab out of it for the rest of the cyber range people to do. So it's like from a business standpoint, it's useful, and I can like vouch for you. So yeah, you can pretty much do anything. I didn't outline like, you know, how good the thing needs to be. Like, I don't want people to like, you know, make a project that shows you how to like do a single scan with Nmap and like call that like a project or something. So it's like too easy basically. So I need to like flush out, you know, the standards for how good the project is. But yeah, you can pretty much do anything and use it as a project. So this is like really important, because say if somebody wants to work in IAM or like some area of security that's not covered in the cyber range, and you want to get experience for your resume, this is like a really good way to do it. To be like, see, like I did this, and then when the employer or the third party or whatever contacts me, I'll just like bring up your intern spreadsheet, and I can see like everything you did, and I can just vouch for it that way. So it's kind of like a way to get free experience, because you're providing business value for, you know, me and the other cyber range members. So it's as legit as any other job is, if that makes sense. And then Rashid, I didn't see your messages. I don't know if you want to like use your, Rob, did you raise your hand? Hey, Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just hearing that, and I saw Chris's project. I want to give him a lot of kudos. I haven't gone through it all. I got to watch 20 minutes of it, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. So I wanted to ask, would you suggest, I mean, I know he put it here in the cyber range, but would it be beneficial, like maybe putting it on YouTube, although, you know, there's a lot of haters out there, but like maybe put it on LinkedIn or something? Because I mean, I think it's kind of cool that you can do the GitHub, but like you said, people don't really kind of like glance over it. I think like a video where they can watch even for a couple of minutes and say, hey, I'm actually seeing what you're doing, and you're demonstrating that you know what the heck you're talking about and you know what you're doing. Is there any suggestion, maybe posting it somewhere, or just does it really matter, or just, you know, just the thoughts?
Yeah, I always recommend people, if you're down to do it, I always recommend posting it on YouTube and making some kind of tangible media that employers can look at. Because if you make a nice quality one, they can get like a sense of, you know, how it would be to interview you, because you made a presentation, you're like presenting it to the public. So it's definitely a net positive, you know, assuming the content is like not obscene, you know, it's like proper professional content. I'm happy to see people doing that. And I do want to say also, you can like literally like walk through the cyber range labs as well. You don't have to like completely make your own content up. You can literally like just copy what I'm doing in the lab and just, you know, act as if you're just doing that on your own. That's like completely fair game to do. And now that I'm saying this, on top of that, everyone's kind of like automatically an affiliate for the cyber range. So if you put like, you know, you do your vulnerability management demo video, and then you can put in the link, like, by the way, if you want to join the cyber range and like do this stuff too, like you can. And if they join the cyber range, for every like month that they're a member, like you get a percentage of their membership fee, if that makes sense. It's like ongoing revenue. It's like affiliate program, but it's like ongoing. So you can do that too. I didn't actually like talk about this much, but it's like you can kill like 3 birds with 1 stone. So I think it's good that if people do that. Also, if you want a collab with me, just like let me know and we can do something as well on YouTube.
Yep. Yeah. I'm gonna think somebody kind of asking. So like this is my workflow. Like when I first got into the Sunrich. Now you don't have to do it this way, but this is just best how I learned, and just over my years of seeing people on what level and the speed of they doing stuff. Like when I first came to the cyber range, this is what I did. I just watched every video like on 1.5 speed. And I would do that for like 7 to 8 hours a day. And I think it took me maybe about a month to kind of get, about 3 weeks to a month to kind of get through with everything. Once I got through with everything, okay, I kind of know what's what a little bit. I started doing the projects. I started going after my GitHub. I'm like when I'm going out, I'm kind of obsessive. Like I'm finna do it. Like I'm finna get in there. I'm finna like doing it and just go crazy on it. And like I said, and so what I did, I went through the vulnerability management. I took screenshots of everything Josh was doing. As he was writing out his report, I was writing out my report to put in GitHub. So all I had to do is just copy my report that I just did with Josh and put it in my GitHub. And I would just go to the next one. And I said, okay, I don't want to burn myself out. So that's okay. If I can do 1 project a day, in 30 days, I can have 30 projects. I said, and after them 30 projects, I'm going to start applying for jobs because I'm going to need to get that practice to see what people actually saying in the interview and kind of get comfortable and see how interviews go. And so I think about in February, March, I started applying for jobs. I had my GitHub up. I had my LinkedIn optimized or whatever. I put my job profiles on all the job boards, and recruiters started contacting me. And then, like I said, I applied for those 500 easy apply. Nobody got back. I started using Josh, and I kind of reframed the ATS resume, and immediately I was getting so many job interview requests. I stopped filling out applications. I literally stopped because I was getting so many interview requests. I couldn't keep up with it. I said, okay, let me just hone in on this one. I'm gonna hone in on that one. And I was picking the easiest jobs. There was vulnerability management, GRC analyst, data security analyst, stuff like that. I did 1-3 hunt. And then once I did that, like I said, just exactly what Chris saying, I would ask ChatGPT, give me some projects based off this job description. Give me some interview questions based off this job description. And that for that whole week, I would just hammer that and hammer it and hammer it. And like I said, once I got to the interviews, I had 11 interviews in a month, like in 2-3 weeks. So I went from 500 application easy apply to using the AT. I got 11 interviews. I got 6 offers. Now you may can say the first one, look, I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, what am I doing? And like Josh say, the company want to know, can you solve that problem? And can they give you the job and just let you run with it? And I always display my GitHub project. That was always my talking point. Like every time, that was always my talking point. Anything they can throw at me in the thing, and sometimes they'll try to ask you all those technical questions. I'll try to answer it. If I knew the answer, I'll answer it. But if I didn't know the answer, I asked them. I said, hey, can you put that question in a scenario base on how I'm going to be using that question at the job I'm going to be doing? I pretty much just told them stop asking me these dumb questions about stuff I ain't going to be doing at work. But in a nice way. And then they kind of get back on the topic of what I'll be doing. Then we can talk more about the actual job. And then I can win their hearts and mind over that, hey, I can do this job. Let's not talk about all this theory. Let's not spend a whole hour on theory. Let's spend a whole hour on talking about, hey, how can we solve your problem? This is how I can do it. And so I pretty much almost have a meeting with them like we're at work and we're in a CAP meeting and we talking about this problem and this how we gonna solve and this what we gonna do. And that's pretty much how I do it. And I got 6 offers in 1 month. I was shocked. I was like, this is just crazy. Like I said, and it was all because the projects, the GitHub, And most of those projects from GitHub. Like I said, and what's crazy, a lot of people like once y'all get a job, you're gonna be like, man, Josh course really prepared me for the real world, because it actually looks like that. No, he used Microsoft, the Splunk, then you'll have your chat where you chatting everybody, and then you have your emails where it's just going bonkers, and then you'll have your schedule, your meetings and stuff. And you're looking at all that, you got your stuff, and we use Azure DevOps. That's where we kind of upload some of the data and some of the code to the platform. It's like just a push and pull request. You just push it, pull it, commit it, somebody approve it. All right, look at my job, little Susan. Okay, it's good, approve. All right, done with that ticket, go to the next one. And yeah, so when y'all get in them interviews, like I said, try to figure out what their company problem is. And if you can solve their company problem right there in that meeting, like I said, look at it as a meeting, not necessarily an interview, but a problem-solving meeting. And practice in the mirror. Talk to yourself. So talk to ChatGTP. Because you got the AI version. You can spin over here, actually talk to you back and forth. Yeah, talk to them, and you go back and forth. Like yeah. Shout out to Khadija. She got a job. It's a lot of people getting jobs. It's a lot of people getting jobs. A lot. But yeah, shout out to Josh. Keep holding down. I don't want to take up too much time. I can talk all day about this stuff.
Yeah, I like what you said about like treating the interview like a meeting, like a problem-solving meeting. That's literally like how you should think about it. So that's great. So thanks for saying that. And I want to read. JP Carlos had a question in the chat. I just want to like read this really fast because maybe he don't have a mic. But he said, "Hey Josh, actually let me share my screen. I need to do that anyway." He said, "Hey Josh, I have about 5 years of IT experience in network and system administration. After a layoff and being out of work for over a year, I'm now pivoting into cybersecurity. I'm a single dad to a 4-year-old, and I'm really motivated to land a job in cybersecurity as soon as possible. Given my background in IT and my time away from the workforce, what steps would you recommend I take right now to quickly pivot into cybersecurity? What skills or certifications would you prioritize for someone like me who already has network and systems admin, or should I not worry about certs, as Trev mentioned?" So basically for you, I would almost recommend the same thing as everybody else. Is to kind of custom tailor your study. So for example, if you're in the cyber community, you can actually see this for free. So if you go to the classroom and then the Start Here section, there's this cybersecurity roadmap in like a video and like this spreadsheet and everything. So I would like open up this spreadsheet, and it's basically stuff that I think that you should look at or care about and do. And there's like different levels to like each thing. So I would just like make a copy of this for yourself. And then basically the idea is to like look at all these different things that I kind of recommend people to do. And I recommend making all of these into S tier. So for example, like in terms of consistency, I recommend 3+ hours a day of effort toward your goal. And then you can kind of fill out the rest of this thing as it pertains to you. So for example, if you have like actual experience, so let me see, how did I define this? Oh, so if it's not like exact, but since you already have like IT experience, this would be considered to be either like, A tier or like S tier or something like this. But I might consider it like A tier, but after you go through like the internship and do all this stuff, I might consider S tier. But basically go through and like fill out all the stuff as it pertains to you and work toward making all of this turn blue as if it's S tier. And you don't need any certifications, but if you don't have them, I kind of recommend people to like think about how to make up for the lack of certifications in other areas. So for example, a really extreme example of this is if you're like the head of cybercom or something, you don't need Security Plus, right, to get a job. But some people might care about Security Plus or certifications. So I might recommend considering getting like at least Security Plus and maybe like one other cert just for in like an area that you care about. But basically, I just recommend like going through this roadmap and turning everything S tier, like regardless of like your background. Because if you have background already, a lot of this will be, maybe green or yellow, as opposed to somebody who's brand new where everything is red and they have like nothing, so just like go through it and then figure out where you stand now and just work to make everything as good as possible. And then when you go to do your job application execution, it's really important for that to be S tier as well. I talk about that, like all of this stuff over here on this tab is like the relevant modules on how to do the stuff. So assuming your resume is like, perfect or as good as it can be, and if you do like STR job application execution, that's kind of how to get where you want to be like sooner than you would otherwise, if that makes sense. I talked like really fast, but hopefully that makes sense. But you can always like DM me in the cyber community or cyber range if you want to know like more like clarifying questions and stuff. Rob, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, so I saw that you have the cyber range, which has obviously, I mean, really the bulk of the membership is what it costs Azure and Tenable, because it can be quite expensive to run. Have you ever thought of just doing maybe like a paid membership, which was a little cheaper, where it just had the video content? So like, I feel like some people, like I said, like the $97, I feel like it stops a lot of people because can be a little bit expensive. But at least that would at least pay for your time for making the videos. And then say, hey, if you want to join the cyber range and the internship and all that other stuff, that would be part of the cyber range. I don't know, just an idea to throw out at you.
I thought about that, and someone asked me about it too, and I'm down to do it, but I'm not we can do this for sure, but I just didn't know of like a good way to do it other than making like I've thought about it. I just need to think about a good way to deliver it. Maybe I can have like a single module like in the cyber community where it's like $50 and people can pay for that and then they can see the videos. But then I feel like people would buy that and then they'd be like, I want to join the cyber range, and then they would like ask me for like a discount or something because they already like paid for the videos. But I'm sure it's like possible. I just need to come up with like a good system for it. And that's a good idea because like people have asked me about this before, but I just didn't know how to like implement it well.
Well, I think since you have the videos sort of on YouTube, I mean, wouldn't you could also do like a Patreon? Like I see a lot of people do on YouTube where they have like paid content and like kind of, since again, the video is already on YouTube, it would only be like converting those videos to like a Patreon subscription kind of thing, and they could pay through there. And they say, hey, and then, kind of introduce, hey, well, we have the cyber range and the valuable part. Because, I mean, the money really is the internship, the using the tools. Because, I mean, Tenable, I mean, yeah, you got that home version, but let's be realistic. The good stuff, that stuff is really expensive. It's not something you could just kind of pay on your own, especially with the Azure stuff and all that. And I feel like that's a value. But I think a lot of people get pulled because, again, there's so many quick scams, and I've seen a lot of videos where you can't be in a cybersecurity in 6 months, and your name has been thrown out. A lot of hate videos that I've seen. Maybe I should be not spending so much time watching those videos and spending my time in the range. But I don't know. I just thought that that would be helpful. Kind of just to watch the video and say, hey man, this is some really good stuff. Let me join the cyber range and get that hands-on experience.
Can I say yeah.
My life is interesting. Now, this is my mindset, and I've been around people that's millionaires and billionaires. And one thing I learned from them, they like, how we go around, we might spend $10 a coffee a day. That's $70 a week. Now, if I just say, hey man, I ain't gonna get the best coffee, I'm just gonna get some black and I'm gonna get my own sugar, and I can save $25 that week. Then the next week, another $25. And I can get this course. Like I think about my life. I can waste so much money on nothing that don't advance me in my life. Anything that's free in life, it was never worth it. Never. None of it. Anytime I didn't pay some money for it, I didn't put my blood, sweat, and tears. Josh on YouTube. Everybody know him saying people just hating. People gonna hate. And this the best $97 a month I've spent. Okay, over a year, it's $1,200. I spent $1,200 to get $150. Next month's gonna be $350. So while they over there, they don't want to pay no money. They want to be cheap. While they spending money on pointless stuff, I didn't invest in my wife's life, my kids' life. $1,500 to make $150,000-$300,000, man, that's a good return. That's a good start. That's just how I look at it. Like I said, I look at because I can go out and splurge, man. I can go out and eat a big fat dinner. I done paid this dinner $100. I ain't getting nothing back. I said, man, I could have. Hey, babe, we ain't gonna go out this week. I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna cook you a little something. You can cook some stuff because I don't know how to cook. Hey, I'm gonna spend money on this little course right here to get us to the next level. And hey, but that's just my mindset. Being around millionaires and billionaires, like I said, man, they invest, and they say, man, if it's free, it's probably some crap. That's what they always say. If it's free, it's some crap. But sometimes it's super high, some crap too. But you just do your homework. Like I said, I'm a real person. Frank a real person. Now, Khadija, she a real person. You got all these people real. We like, hey. If Josh was a scam, hey, I tell you he a scam. You can probably know that from my personality. Hey, he whack. That course whack. It's some trash, but no, his course is legit. I mean, it's people on YouTube. No folks paying $10,000 for a course and they don't even got an internship, and people are paying. I'm like, them people have to be ashamed of themselves ripping people off like that. Or you got people out here paying $500 for a course. They don't even got nothing in it. So I'm like, Josh out here giving value to the world, and he getting back. Now he making money. You give to the world give back to you. That's all I gotta say. I'm out.
Yeah, I wanna mention too that I understand the hesitation because there is a lot of bullshit out there, to be frank and honest, and there's a lot of people that promise a lot and don't quite deliver. But I also wanted to point out, and Trev said this a little bit too, that a lot of internship programs for like 6 months, 9 months, or however long, they start like at $10,000-$15,000, and they're super expensive. And I've been in the cyber range for about a month now, and I'll put a link in the chat to my GitHub just so y'all can see what I've done so far. And I've done those projects from knowing nothing to doing all those projects and posting on GitHub in just a month. So if you want to try it out as like a trial, just pay for 1 month. And if you don't like it, you could always cancel it. It's super easy to cancel subscriptions in school. It's literally one click away. You don't have to go through anything. You can go into your settings and unsubscribe at any time. But I understand the hesitation for sure. But I also want to point out that other programs that don't even give you what Josh gives you here are way more expensive. Because if you stick around for 6 months, you're paying what, $600, $700, or whatever it is. That same 6 months is like $10K for a lot of other internship programs. So I just want to throw that out there to kind of give a little bit of context as to everything. Oh, my link's broken. I'll repost it here in a second, just so that you're aware, kind of like where we're at the moment. So yeah, just wanted to share that to give a little more context, and I'll repost my GitHub link here in a second.
Cool. Thank you, by the way. And hey, Robert, again, what's up?
That question. So I know you guys were applying for jobs mainly in the private sector. Is that correct?
I think both. A lot of people, a few people getting clearance jobs. Like actually, a lot of people are. But yeah.
So my question is, some of the requirements I've seen on USA Jobs and everything, those require degrees or certifications. Can you get past that if you have the experience?
Yep, you can't. My job was talking about a degree, this certification, that certification, this certification. And the guy was like, yeah, we really want this degree and this certification, but you pretty much got the equivalent experience of somebody that got these certifications. You can do the job, so we ain't gonna worry about it. That's what the guy told me in the interview. And this was a senior guy that's been at the company $1 billion. We talking about a $1 billion company. And he's a senior guy, been up for 10, 15 years. And yeah, that's pretty much what he told me. And pretty much how I got past the A, because you're gonna have to get past the ATS system. You're gonna have to do the little prompt. And what you do is you say, all right, I'm getting a bachelor in computer science. It's expected on this date. So it'll help you get past the thing. Then for the certification, whatever certification is asking, all right, my CISSP and my Security Plus is expected, and you put the date out about 5 months, and then it'll get through the ATS system. And they don't even ask about the cert. Nobody have asked about, yeah, can I see your stamps and can I see your certification? And do you got your they don't even care. Like I said, once I get to talking and talking about my projects, yeah, come on in, please, right now, please.
Okay, so just expected dates. Okay, got you. And then just
I just want to say something. You did ask about USA Jobs. This is my second time working with DoD. You do have to have a Security Plus. Otherwise, they're just pretty much going to toss your resume. I had my last boss tell me that. Having a degree, a lot of them also do like degrees. So if you have one or can get one, I would suggest it. It's not impossible, but you do at least need to have Sec Plus.
Okay, I got the Sec Plus, and I have my degree in June. I have both of those.
Nice.
Wow, you good to go then. What's up, Khadidra? Congrats on the job.
What's up?
Cool. So I'll wrap up pretty soon because we're past time, but I want to at least answer the last 3 questions that we have, and then maybe some more if someone really has one. But you have more questions, Rob? You can ask, or Robert, you can ask some more if you have them.
No, this is as I walked to the bathroom and came back, and I saw that about the USA jobs. Yes, if it is true, you do need your Security Plus, especially for the DoD type of jobs and stuff like that. If anyone has any questions about how to apply for federal jobs, I've been a federal employee for over 14 years. I've applied for so many jobs. My name on the school.com is Cyber Rob. Then I have the binary numbers at the end. So if you have any questions about that and how to apply and how to get through, because a lot of people don't get federal jobs because they don't know how to apply. It's very specific how you apply for those jobs, and then the interviews are going to be a lot different than your usual jobs outside of it. So there's a way of finessing those jobs. You just gotta know how to do it so you can get your resume to the manager. So if anyone needs any help, definitely you can reach out to me and I can help you out.
Thanks so much for that. This is really nice.
Do you have a LinkedIn?
Do I have a LinkedIn?
The one I was speaking. Yes.
Yes. I would have to pull it up. I'm not even on my laptop. I'll pull it up in a second. I'll let Josh answer any other questions.
Okay, cool.
And then do you have more questions? Robert Gillespie. I just realized there's like 2 Robs, and I just said Rob, and then you both had your hand up.
No, this is very valuable information. Everybody's answering everything that I had questions for. So it's going to continue to learn and finish up internships in school and stuff like that.
Cool. Sounds good. Cool. And then John, I see your hands up.
Yeah, not really a question. I know I came in pretty late, but I don't know if anyone's already kind of talked about that. I mean, I've heard a couple of things already, like from my own experience, kind of talking about, different training programs compared to what I've had. I've had Hack the Box, DCM Academy, and they're all great, but it's just the one thing I've noticed, right, trend-wise, is just you don't really get that hands-on experience that you really need. You do to a degree, but not in like an actual SOC environment, and that's just something, I guess, to take into account, right, when y'all are thinking about jumping in on that, because I had all 3 of them at one point, including yours, and I dropped one of them recently. So best value, I'm telling you, the instructions and stuff like that is very clear cut for pretty much anyone that doesn't know what they're doing to kind of, I'd say do that without any experience. So if you got any doubts, I'd say do it. Just don't waste that time. And the biggest thing too, again, I keep hearing about like applying and stuff. I'll tell you one thing, that the LinkedIn stuff, the networking, we always talk about it. Definitely go hard on that. It's not the most important, but it'll definitely bring you opportunities that just won't be on LinkedIn or, even Indeed. And that's been happening to me a lot lately for stuff that I haven't even applied to. So kind of one thing, and again, I think we should maybe try implementing that at some point, doing kind of like the connection post and see if help people that don't have a lot of LinkedIn connections to grow that following, so that way they can get noticed. I don't know. And then maybe do something with LinkedIn one day where we can do like a, hey, this is me kind of thing. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of like what Simply Cyber does every so often. Like the Simply Cyber post, it talks about what you do, what you're trying to do, things like that, just so that way they can get that exposure. But I know that's going to take time, but just some ideas for the future, possibly.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. I wrote those down. I think that especially the weekly LinkedIn connection post would be like a really good idea. And then talking about what you're doing, I think that's really good too. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime.
Nice. Does school allow a custom field for LinkedIn? I think you can put, in your profile. I might be answering the wrong thing, but you can, in your profile. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Any final questions or anything before we? Oh, Robert. Oh, your hand's still up. Or are you still? Do you have more questions? Oh, it's just down. No, you're good. Cool. Yeah, thanks everybody. This is like really good call. It wasn't too overwhelming. I think because I didn't open it up to YouTube, that's why. But yeah, this was like really good call with like really good information. So thanks everybody for like sharing your like stories and advice and everything. It's like really good. So I appreciate it. We do like for cyber community members, we do like this call every week. It's pretty much just like this, but there's less people. Usually there's like 20 to 25 people. So thanks all the cyber community members for joining and the Cyber Range members for like providing like all the value. So thanks so much for everybody, and I guess we'll see you next week. Oh, and we record all the calls. I was dumb and I failed to start this recording until like 10 minutes in or something like that, but we'll post this in the Cyber Range, like in the classroom section, so you can like go through and watch this and then all the past ones. But yeah, thanks everybody. I really appreciate it. It's a really good call as usual, and yeah, we'll see you next week and see you in the Cyber Range. All right, I'm gonna stop this.
Thank you.